is a book, and if I say I don't like Wuthering Heights, then it's not because I haven't understood the novel, it's because I don't think it's a very good novel. In 2020, can we please cancel feeling superior to others based on the books that you've read? Hello and welcome to Spinster's Library. I'm Claudia, and today I want to address a topic that has been on my mind for well over a year, and it keeps coming back up, both in my own comment section for my videos and in the comment section of other videos and sort of general discussion that I see around books on Twitter and other social media. And that is this constant accusation that I or other people are reading classics wrong. So today is going to be a rant in which I explain why, no, I'm not reading classics wrong, and neither are you. If you're familiar with my channel, you might be aware of a specific type of reading vlog that I like to do, in which I record my reaction after every single chapter of a book, and then I just cut them all together and you get a very sort of fast-paced, point-by-point, blow-by-blow reaction of me reading the book. I've done this with loads of novels, some contemporary but mostly classic. I've done this with Mansfield Park by Jane Austen, with Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and most controversially with Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. And to this day on all of these videos I get comments that say something like, oh, I wish you'd gone a little bit more into the substance of the book, I wish you'd analysed it a little bit more. This is a very superficial review. First of all, a reading vlog is not the same as a book review. A reading vlog is just it is a superficial emotional reaction to reading a book and then communicating that reaction. That is very different to a review that you plan out and record after reading the book. And there's value in both, right? The upsides of watching a reading vlog is that you get that immediate emotional feedback. You get the immediate reaction to reading something. And I don't want to lose that. I like that classics evoke these reactions in me, even if these reactions are superficial and emotional and not well thought out. Even if I finish a chapter of Mansfield Park and go, ew, that guy's gross, which obviously there is more in any given chapter of Mansfield Park than that reaction warrants, but it is still an emotional reaction to reading a book. And if you read a book and you completely lack that emotional reaction, then what actually makes it fun for you? And then a book review is my opinion on the book after I've read it. I've recently started uploading more individual book reviews rather than compiling them into wrap-ups, and I've really enjoyed talking about a single book at length. I've enjoyed going a little bit deeper into that book, and still people aren't happy. I don't go into the substance, I don't talk about the themes of the novel enough, and no, I don't. I don't know why there's this expectation that me reviewing a book would sound anything like I'm delivering a paper at an English lit conference. I'm not a literature scholar, but the good thing is there are loads of booktubers who are literature scholars, who have degrees in literature, who analyse deeply in their reviews and who go into their themes. If that's what you like in a review, then there's so many other booktubers out there that will provide that. But I'm not that. My reviews are casual. They are in depth. I do talk about a lot of things, but I talk about the reading experience more than anything. How was the vibe of the book? How was the pace of the book? How three-dimensional do the characters feel? What was my emotional reaction as I read it? I will do academic analysis on topics that I'm actually trained and educated about. For example, you should all check out my frankly excellent and underrated video on music in Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. If you want analysis, you're getting loads of analysis in that video, but it is analysis of a very specific subject that I know about, that I feel confident and educated in talking about. But I'm not a literature scholar, and I don't want my videos to be scholarly. All of my reviews, in fact all of anyone's reviews, no matter how much they may proclaim that they are objective, all reviews are inherently opinion-based. And that seems like a very obvious statement, and yet when it comes to classic, I feel the need to clarify that, and I feel the need to justify myself, because for some reason we think that classics are above opinion, that classics are above good and bad, that classics are above personal preference. But they are not. Why would they be? Because they're old? Because there have been PhDs written about them? A book is a book, and if I say I don't like Wuthering Heights, then it's not because I haven't understood the novel, it's because I don't think it's a very good novel. And yet, if you go through the comment section on my Wuthering Heights reading vlog, you get things like, "Oh no, you got it wrong. Wuthering Heights is not a romance, you see, it's a revenge novel." Dude, did I say that I didn't like Wuthering Heights as a romance? No, I didn't like Wuthering Heights as a book. It doesn't matter whether it's a revenge novel or a romance. First of all, why do you assume that I went into Wuthering Heights expecting a romance? I didn't. And secondly, it doesn't change the fact that I just didn't like the book. In my opinion, it's a crappy revenge novel, if that's what you want to call it. On my channel, I want to talk about classics in exactly the same way as I talk about contemporary literature. I don't see why we have to put classics on a pedestal and we have to elevate them beyond personal opinion. It doesn't make sense to me. I want to talk about the things I liked and I disliked about a book, whether that was written in 1818 or in 2018. I want to talk about characters and pacing and writing style and plot twists. I want to think about the person that I want to reach with my book reviews. Who am I reviewing books for? Certainly not literature scholars, because they have better things to do than listen to my uneducated opinion. I'm reviewing books for people who either have read the book that I'm talking about and they want to hear what someone else thought, or for people who are interested in a book that I'm reviewing and were thinking about picking it up. And I target those two types of readers because those two readers are me. When I look at a book review, I look at book reviews for either books that I've read or for books that I'm interested in anyway. So at the end of each of my book reviews, I want to answer the question, would I recommend this book to you? And in my opinion, if a book review doesn't answer that question for me, then I don't feel like I've gotten everything out of that review that I wanted. If I watch a review of a book that I haven't read yet, and it goes really deeply into themes and philosophical ideas, but at the end of it I don't know if the person reviewing the book liked it or not, then it's not done its job, in my opinion. I feel like a lot of what I've said just now is something that most people would agree with when it comes to books, and yet for classics we seem to apply different parameters to what a book review is supposed to be about and what a reading vlog is supposed to be about. And I wish we didn't. I wish we'd stop treating classics like this. And I say this as a lover of classics. I love me a 19th century book. But I don't think that a book, just because it's got the name Bronte on the cover page, is automatically good. And I don't think you should make anyone feel bad because their opinion of a book differs from yours. I once got a really weird comment on a review of A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess, and it was something like, "I genuinely don't understand how you gave A Clockwork Orange 3 stars and Wuthering Heights only 2. I am baffled by this." I'm pretty sure the word baffled was used in that comment. And I'm baffled by that comment. What's so hard to understand that I prefer the book A Clockwork Orange to the book Wuthering Heights? There is no objectivity in literature and there is no objectivity in classics. Just because at some point someone decided that this book goes on a high school curriculum does not make it inherently worth more than a book that isn't on the high school curriculum. And I think that a lot of the motivation for people to comment things like that, and again, I'm not just talking about my videos, I'm talking about other classics booktubers, a lot of the motivation for people to go, I think you just didn't understand the book, is that people who comment that genuinely feel superior to the creator who doesn't share their opinion about a book. I think people really think that liking Kafka or Emily Bronte or any other controversial classic, that somehow makes them a better person or even a better reader. In 2020, can we please cancel feeling superior to others based on the books that you've read? That is my takeaway for this video. The comment section of this is going to be fun. As we move into Victober, I want you to all take the attitude out of classics. There are people starting Victober for the first time. There's people who've never picked up a 19th century novel before. There are people who are only just dipping their toes in classics. There are people who have done Victober for the 5th year running. I think it's the fifth time it's happening. I myself am doing it for the 3rd time. But regardless of where we are with regards to our own experience with classics, I want you to not ever judge someone else based on whether they enjoyed a book. And it doesn't matter if it's your favourite ever book. My favourite ever book is The Picture of Dora, Engraver, Oscar Wilde. I can admit that it's not the best novel ever written. I can admit there are many, many flaws with this novel. There are so many problems with it. It's not even Oscar Wilde's best work. It certainly isn't the best work of Victorian fiction, but it's my favourite. And if you have a different opinion of it, that's fine. Because I can like a book you hate, and I can hate a book you like, and it doesn't change the actual book. It doesn't change the words in the book. It isn't my job to change your opinion about a classic, and it isn't your job to change mine. Can we just all agree on that? Incidentally, I'm going to link a video of mine in the description box, which I really like. I think it's one of my best videos, and it's called something like How to Start with Classics, or How to Get Started with Classics. It's not book recommendations. There are lots of videos out there that are like easy classics for beginners, that kind of thing. No, my book is more about how to start your own personal journey with classics if you haven't really read many classics before. Because I know that classics can be intimidating, and I'm hoping that us talking about classics like they're normal books, because that's literally what they are, is going to remove that stigma and is going to make classics more accessible to everyone. Rant over. I'm gonna get myself a cup of tea and a biscuit now. Thank you for watching. Bye.